A POW. Can you imagine the life that those guys must have had to endure while they were in the POW camp in Vietnam in the Hanoi Hilton? The beatings, the not being able to see each other, to be stripped down of everything, to laying on a hard floor, to not knowing about their loved ones, not getting mail. I mean, all of those just awful situations, being in solitary confinement all those years. And yet, there was a lot of good stuff that came out of there as far as learning about life. And General Stockdale, Admiral Stockdale, was in the Hanoi Hilton, and he was interviewed by Jim Collins, who wrote a series of books. One was called From Good to Great, about companies. And this whole premise of this book about good to great is when you're good, it stops you from being great, that we got to be better. And Admiral Stockdale was interviewed for this book, and I want to, before I go into that, I want to go backwards in time, because this Stockdale paradox, Jim Collins called it, was something that I had learned on my own. I didn't even know I was doing it, and yet I think it's important. Once you know it, you can start to learn how to move in your own life from good to great, because we all want to be better than we are. That's just human nature. I mean, if you're just stuck and you're happy with just good, then this Facebook Live isn't for you. But if you're like interested in how you get to that next level, you'll want to continue to listen. I go back to my own experience of my dad dying of cancer. I held my dad, you know, his head was here, and I held his hand as he took his last breath. He died of lung cancer. And as I reflected on that experience, I remember a conversation he and I had like a month before he died. He was given a death sentence, and I visited him a lot during that period of time. And this one day, this conversation, my dad had expressed regret for not accomplishing all that he really wanted to do in life. And he just wanted to die that day. And I'll never forget his hopeless eyes. As he passed away, and after that period of time, as I reflected on that whole experience in my dad's life, I realized I never wanted to be in a position where I had to compromise any of my freedom. My dad he was a poor eater. He was a pleasure eater. He loved his hard candy, and I think he was like 5'10", and he was obese. Dad had probably got to 230, 40, maybe 50 pounds. And so he made choices to get short-term pleasure that it robbed him of choices later on when he got cancer. And I said, I'll never want to be like that. And I learned from my dad, and that's when I made some choices in my life. The first was I was going to turn my health around. Why? Because I was headed down the exact same path as my dad. The exact same path. I was eating like him. I was eating pleasure food. Sad to say, I used to eat a whole bag of salt and vinegar chips every day, a whole bag. I mean, that's like 700 to 1,000 calories, and when you put that starch, it turns to pure sugar. I ate hot tamales, I mean, those little red candies. I mean, I'm a cinnamon holic. And I realized I never wanted to compromise my health, and I wanted great health. And I went on a mission to do that. And seriously, in a 15, 16 month period of time, I ended up losing 70 pounds and racing at age 50 in and my first Ironman triathlon. I had the health to do that. I just had to work on fitness. That whole journey, I didn't realize I was following Admiral Stockdale's paradox. And I want to read that to you right now. This was right out of Wikipedia. James Collin is interviewing Admiral Stockdale for this book, From Good to Great. Let me see, I gotta see the camera. Yeah, From Good to Great, from Jim Collin. So Jim Collin is interviewing him for this book. And he related this conversation that he had with Stockdale regarding his coping strategy during his period in the Hanoi Hilton. When Collins asked this question, which prisoners didn't make it out of Vietnam? I mean, if you think that, how would you answer that right now? What would you think the prisoners that didn't get out of Vietnam, why they didn't get out? You would say, well, they got beat to death, their captors, you know, killed them, they starved them, all that. And that's not what Admiral Stockdale said. Admiral Stockdale said the following: oh, that's easy. The optimist didn't make it out. We've all been taught to be optimistic about life, see a brighter future than what you have now. We're all taught that, right? But Admiral Stockdale said those are the ones that didn't make it out. Oh, those were the ones who said, we're going to be out by Christmas. Christmas would come, Christmas would go. Then they would say, we're going to be out by Easter. Easter would come, Easter would go. And then Thanksgiving, and then it would be Christmas again. And here's what Admiral Stockdale said next: and they died of a broken heart. Just like my dad. Lost hope. We lose hope, you know, broken heart. This is a very important lesson, Admiral Stockdale said. And then he said the following, and this is the Stockdale paradox. You must never confuse faith that you will prevail in the end, which you can never afford to do. So we got to have faith. We got to say, I'm exercising faith. I know tomorrow can be better than today. But there's a flip side to that. Stockdale went on to say, with the discipline to confront the most brutal facts of your current reality, whatever that might be. What he's basically saying with these prisoners, it's okay to have faith on getting out, but be brutally honest. You don't know if you're getting out by Christmas. Why say, we're getting out by Christmas? And then it would Christmas come, Christmas would go. Because that squashes, when you're not brutally honest, it can squash your dream. And these prisoners' case, it squashed their life. They died of a broken heart. Have you ever had a dream that died because of a broken heart? I can do this, I can do that, I know I can do it. And you don't do the second part of that, where you have this brutal honesty. For me, when I said I'm going to turn my health around, I knew what I needed to do. I needed to, number one, eat better. I needed to find a solution for that, which I did. And number two, I needed to get fit and exercise. During all this period of time, I was a partner in a CPA firm, and it kind of owned me in a lot of ways. And after Dad died, I started to not enjoy what I was doing. I mean, I had these, few clients that were like a key to my practice. Maybe 100 entrepreneurs had great businesses. They had already created a great life. I wanted to help the masses. I wanted to help people who couldn't afford me as CPA. I wanted to help people go from a good life to a great life. I wanted to help people have great health, not just good health. And I was so passionate about money, helping people have the freedom of choice with creating an income, just like these entrepreneurs have. I couldn't help these entrepreneurs. They had already achieved that. I could help these masses, and that's when I got out of the CPA business and started doing what I've been doing now. I hope that you follow the Stockdale paradox. Have unwavering faith that you can make your life from good to great, but also be brutally honest and do the do.